I'm here with Senator Sheldon Whitehouse from Rhode Island. Senator Whitehouse serves on the Environment and Public Works Committee. Senator, thank you for taking the time to meet with me.
Good to meet with you. Thank you for taking the time.
Senator Whitehouse, why do we need scientists as environmental advocates?
Well, I suppose the baseline reason is because politics is right now kicking the crap out of science in Washington over and over again, and it is clear at this point that it is a systemic and enduring problem. And I think one of the solutions to that systemic and enduring problem is to have scientists be more engaged in the forum, more engaged with the decision makers and policy makers, and become better advocates on their own behalf so that the fight is less one-sided.
All right. Many scientists that I know are leery of getting involved in some of these hot-button issues such as climate change because they're concerned that they will appear like they are advocating for one side rather than advocating for truth in such politically charged debates. How would you respond to these scientists to get them involved?
I think that it's less important that every individual scientist gets involved. Some may want to stick to very pure scientific research, but they should look around their community of scientists the way another community looks around to see what the resources are for making sure that their knowledge, their conclusions get out and are getting properly heard and understood. And if they look around academia and find that that's not getting out, it's a little bit like a small town community looking around and realizing it has no fire department. Now, everybody doesn't have to be a firefighter, but you sure as heck need to have a fire department. And I think it should be everybody's responsibility to make sure that the scientific community is getting its word out more effectively, even if they're not the actual spokesperson themselves.
All right. Are there examples of fields within science that have done this well, in your opinion?
None that come to mind. The ones that have done it the worst are the ones where there's big corporate money on the other side. You saw it with tobacco, with lead paint. Now you're seeing it with climate science. Unfortunately, there's a lot of money behind the politics and a lot of good, old-fashioned Madison Avenue salesmanship. And that's, I think, where the fight is the most unbalanced. You've got big corporate money and politics on one side and science on the other, and science seems to lose, or by the time they win, we've suffered great damage that was unnecessary.
Why are some of these issues so polarizing? We see so many things in Washington today that to us seem like it's very clear what is actually happening, but it comes down to almost exactly a party line vote.
Well,
it's a tricky
question. At that
question.
point, you're asking me to draw conclusions about what the Republican Party is up to in Washington. And I'll be blunt. Clearly, they've become the party of the special interests. And so when a big industry wants to work with a particular party to try to devalue the scientific research that puts their product or their business at some risk, they instinctively go to the Republicans, and the Republicans seem always to be willing to comply.
How can scientists get started in this advocacy? What's the first step that they should take to help you guys out?
Probably the first step is to work through existing associations and simply assure that they have the capacity as associations to be effective at getting their word out. And the proof of that is in the pudding. It's not enough to put out a press release. You got to have somebody look to see if it actually got picked up by people and if it actually entered the debate and if it's actually being cited in the policy-making discussions. And if you're not, then you need to step up your game until that is happening.
Great. Well, I think it's about time for they're signaling for me back there to give you up to the stage. So thank you very much for taking the time to meet with me.
My pleasure. Good meeting with you.